Great. So I think we are good to start.
Yeah, I'm going live. Zoopy boop boo-doo-doo. Oh, normally I have a starting soon screen, but I forgot to use it today. Dee doop ba doop ba doop beep beep bee doop ba dee da boop bee doop bee doop ba doop doo doop boop boop boo doop boop boop boop. Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome to JSFX Scripting part 15. Is it? It's a big number, and I hope that number doesn't intimidate anybody thinking, oh well, I missed the first 14. It's just that I'm very uncreative with naming streams, and I don't know what's gonna happen in the stream before the stream happens. So that's why they are in parts, but don't think that you can't watch this if you haven't watched the older ones. Though if you were thinking that, then you're not watching this, then you're not hearing this. So forget all the stuff that I just said. Hi, Leandro. How you doing?
Hello, Arya. I have been better. I think that maybe that COVID that you had, now I
Damn.
have it.
Yeah, actually, our buddy Smudge from Mastering in the Box also seems to have caught a touch of the virus, and I sent him some data earlier. So yeah, my COVID is going around. There's like a new COVID. Everyone's gonna get a bunch of COVID now. Yeah, that's the theory that the lady who did my COVID test told me. She was like, Omicron's gonna spread, but it's gonna be okay. So hopefully that will happen.
Yeah, I haven't really been tested, so I cannot really tell for sure. Those tests that you do at home, we have run out of those because everyone is getting COVID. Over here. Really been tested, like, and I haven't been to a testing center, so we'll see.
I never did the testing at home thing. Actually, I've always just gone to a place because it's really close to us, and you walk in, and just after a few minutes, somebody pokes in. The COVID test is very unpleasant.
It is.
Yeah.
I haven't taken it already.
Yeah, I think I've taken it definitely around 10 times because there was one point where I was doing a documentary shoot and we had to get it every day, and that shoot lasted 6 days. So I got it 6 times just then, and I think twice recently, and I think, yeah, twice before. And I have to take it one more time before flying back to Vancouver as well. So, damn it. It's a lot of getting poked in the nose.
But we do have other things to talk about besides getting poked in the nose, don't we?
Yes. So I was telling you just before we started, and I'm gonna. By the way, as always, everybody, let us know if you're hearing our voices okay and seeing our faces okay, and all of those things if they are in order. But I was. Oh no! Is this when you're? Oh no! YouTube picked this moment to verify that it's me, so it's gonna now send me a text. God damn it! This is like the worst.
Saying that my voice is weird.
Weird how?
I think it's probably on your side, Arya, because you hear me via Skype, okay? So it's probably something weird in the audio routing that you have for the stream.
Yeah, well, I mean, on my audio routing, I just have an NDI source. And say something, Leandro?
Hello?
And it's just coming through, but I guess it's laggy and weird. I can feel it be laggy and weird. But I mean, I have no control over this. Sorry, one sec. Let me just do this YouTube thing. There's something unusual about your activity, they said. So, okay. Weird how? I guess I can. Sorry, one sec. Let me just do this YouTube thing. There's something unusual about your activity, they said.
But we're saying that probably the issue is just Skype. I don't think there's anything we can do about it. I mean, use video.
Yeah, I mean, well, it could be something else because, like Skype is doing something and I'm hearing that something and it's not like debilitating. So if you're hearing something that's debilitating. So I'm listening on the stream and your voice seems like choppy. It doesn't seem like it's very overly compressed, or not compressed to a degree that would be like impossible to hear. So I don't know what to do other than possibly stop NDI and restart it.
That usually fixes everything.
Yeah, that's my go-to. Okay, I did that, and now I gotta go to preferences, and I'll just put this here so that if something incriminating is about to go on screen, it doesn't. And calling and advanced and NDI usage, and say something now, Leandro.
Hello world.
Yeah, let us know, Bo, if that got better in any way. It should theoretically be exactly what I'm hearing is what you're hearing, but of course the theoreticals and the practicals are not always the same. So yeah, let us know if Leandro sounds okay.
In theory, practice and theory should be the same, but in practice they aren't.
Oh, that's good. So anyway, while people tell us if we can hear you okay, I was gonna show you a very special comment that we received if YouTube cooperates with me right now and lets me do what I want to do. Come on, fella. I want to show you a very special comment that we received, and if it happens in the next year and a half at this speed, it will be worth it. Because this is a comment that I didn't fully understand, but I know what it's in relation to. But you may be able to fully understand and appreciate the full extent of the comment in a way that I may not. So let me find it. There it is. And now it's gonna go Wheel of Doom, Wheel of Doom, Wheel of Doom. Or what do you call it? Not Wheel of Doom, but Wheel of... No, just like this thing, the circle of let me think about that because the internet is slow situation. And this is our video that we did with Justin, who may hopefully join us again next week. Teaser. We hope. But yes, we got a very special comment on this video. There it is. Redetecting JSFX embedded in TCP MCP. This was added in 630 but never made it to the docs. GFX_EXT_flags will now have the low bit set if embedded. And if you look at who made this comment, it's Justin Frankel, everybody. Whoa. Yes, Justin Frankel, who is the creator of ReaFIR.
That is amazing. I am delighted by this comment.
Me too. So this is... Yeah, what is this low bit set if embedded? I didn't get that bit.
GFX flags is not something that I know about, but we can quickly probably check it in the JSFX documentation. It is probably just a random bag of flags, and when people say flags, they just mean there is some setting that is either enabled or disabled, and if it is enabled, then it's going to be a 1, and if it's disabled, it's going to be a 0, right? That's just a flag. That's what a flag is in this context. And then let's see. I'm looking in the JSFX documentation under the special variables section, and yeah, I think that exists in the documentation that these GFX X flags. Oh, okay. So there is something here. Let's see. Ah, okay. I found something. There is this change log.
Okay.
ReaFIR 630, July 3rd. Good news, everyone. It's probably a Futurama reference. Yeah, so it seems like this GFX X flags is a variable that comes with ReaFIR, and they probably expect to use this for various flags, for various features that may be enabled or disabled. And I was thinking that maybe it was the case that this variable already existed and there was just this new flagging there, but that doesn't seem to be the case, judging by the change log. The change log. It seems like this is a new variable. It's probably going to be used for more things in the future, but as far as I can tell, judging by what we have on the table right now, the only use for this variable is to detect whether the plugin is in the track control panel or in the mixer. So just this variable, it exists. Probably if you scroll on the right pane and to variables, when you find the part, there will be GF.
Yeah. I just set it to 1 in the code.
Okay, so I don't think you should set the variable. I think you should only ReaFIR is going to set the variable for you with the appropriate settings. For instance, what Justin was saying on his comment is that the lowest bit, and when we talk about lowest and highest, we mean in terms of numbers. So the lowest bit is going to be to the right. That is going to be what some people call the least significant bit. It is the bit to the right of the number.
Yeah.
And it is the least significant because if it changes, it's a small change to the number, while if numbers change on the left of a number, that's a big change, right? It's a change of like 1,000, let's say. While if you change a digit on the right of the number, it's a change of like 1 or 10. So what Justin is saying is that the rightmost bit, the lowest bit, is set to 1 if the thing is on the track control panel or the mixer.
Sorry, I got distracted because it seems like it's still not okay. So I'm gonna do a little bit of Leandro magic. I'm gonna choose black hole 5, and I'm going to set the speakers on my thingamajig to black hole. Oh, but then how would I hear you? Yeah, it seems like there are some cutouts in your voice, Leandro, on the chat side. So hopefully, I don't know, Bo, how much of that you heard, but hopefully like a decent amount at least. How do I do this? How do I do this? Boop, booty, boop, boop. What number black hole did I choose? Was it 5? Good job for getting right away, though. Black hole 5, yes. If I set my speakers for... Well, if I do that, then I will stop hearing you. And if I change my monitoring settings, you will stop hearing me. And... Oh, fuck. This is a...
Yeah.
This is a hard one.
I mean, I had to figure this kind of situation out, and I couldn't do it on the stream. No, I had to literally draw audio routing for all the different black holes and everything. You have to do a mix minus for me, and you have to do a mix for the stream, and you have to do a mix minus for yourself.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah, like given time, I would be able to solve this. I'm trying to solve it in a very quick way. So reboot the stream says, Bo, I think it's not even that. I think that the problem is Skype. I think it's very clear that the NDI source is where all the problems begin. And one reason for that could also be that I'm doing something dumb. Like an hour ago, I started a transfer and I thought it will finish by now. It's still not finished. So my computer is transferring a bunch of data to a client of mine. Am I their client? No, they are a client of. And also, and I don't want to stop it now because it's like 9 gigabytes and only like 700 megabytes of it is left. So let's see. Okay, I think I got it. What I gotta do?
Do you?
Yeah, I think I got.
Something else that you may want to do is I just sent you on Skype a link to a Video Ninja kind of thing. I can just send the audio that way.
Okay, and I will receive that on my browser, and then I have to route my browser audio to this, right?
Either that, or you can add a browser source to OBS and then get the audio direct.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I had another idea just now, but let's go with that. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody, and by everybody I mean the one person who watches this stuff. And you know, Bo, we can do whatever he's up for it. Okay, wait, I gotta find the chat. I have so many windows open here. So now I just capture a browser source in OBS, and it would get the audio that way as well, right?
Yeah, make sure. Can you bring thing to the stream, because I need to see it. You have to make sure that you are enabling the audio in OBS for this browser source.
Okay. So go browser, right?
Yeah.
And can I choose just a tab? Just for safety, I'm gonna make it its own window.
No, you don't need to do it that way. It's not that you have a browser window. No. OBS is the browser.
OBS is the browser. Okay, wait. So
the URL there. That's the URL for the audio stream.
OBS. Okay.
Cool, huh?
Yeah. Whoops.
And then we don't really get the width and the height of the window, but we do care about the control audio via OBS. Yeah.
Cool.
That's setting there. You have to enable that one. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then now my voice should be getting to you via the.
But it is not. I'm hearing your voice doubled now, so I know that the Video Ninja side is working, but this browser doesn't show any audio.
I do see myself sending the audio,
and I'm receiving it.
But you're the browser, right? You have a browser window right behind OBS, and that's what you hear.
Yeah.
You can close that one. It's only going to confuse you. Close that one.
Okay, that's gone.
And then, let me see if there's anything else that we have to do there. It doesn't seem like anything else. Just maybe click OK, and then the browser source.
Hold on, let me do this. I think this may be the ticket too. Monitor and output. Though when it says monitor off, it means that it's only output. So this is a total unnecessary. It's actually more than an unnecessary. It's gonna route this back to you. So that's not gonna work. So let me just change this. That was dumb. And now,
you don't want to monitor that case, but the browser source. Click on the browser source in the list of sources.
Yeah.
And then there is this interaction button that you don't right just go out of this menu. Go out of this. It says browser properties interaction.
And
seeing something there.
No, we're just seeing a white circle that's on the stream now. That nobody asked for. I guess I can just put this behind my screen. There we go.
Yes, that gets rid of the image, but it doesn't get the audio. So the audio is just not coming. It goes through when you're user, but it doesn't come through when you're using OBS as the browser.
Do we need to modify the URL in any way? Remember, there's some.
It was supposed to work. It was supposed to work.
Okay, I have one last idea to try. I'm watching two homies. Oh, hey, Glass Audio. Thanks for watching. That's really my trick, is to say, oh, only Bo watches. And then people who are watching and not commenting comment. So, haha, gotcha. Okay, I have one last idea. And that idea is to set my speaker to this so you hear me, and set my microphone to that so you hear me, and set my speaker to Black Hole 5, and then how do I hear you? Through Video Ninja. There we go. Okay, that works. All right. I think we got it. So,
the problem is OBS doesn't seem to like getting the audio from Video Ninja.
Sorry, say again. The problem is what?
OBS doesn't seem to like to get the audio via Video Ninja.
No, but I will only be getting the audio via Video Ninja. I will be hearing you via Video Ninja by opening it on my Chrome.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's probably gonna work. Yes.
That will probably work. All right, let's see. So Black Hole 5. And now, Leandro, say something.
Hello?
Say something long so people see if there's a lag or something.
I will say something long now to see if there is a lag or something.
Cool. I'm going to mute the NDI source because now only seeing you will suffice. And you still hear me?
Sure.
Okay, so I think that's about that. So people in the stream, please let us know if the voice is now okay. What's the view count for past streams? You don't want to know. If I told you, I'll have to kill you.
I mean, isn't that public information? You can just go to the channel.
No, yeah, it is. No, like the one that we did with Justin was very, very well viewed. I think like 400-ish people viewed it. And then in the aftermath, another 500 people viewed it, which for us is, Woodstock. And yeah, no complaints. Like, honestly, just having one person watching that is watching through, or two people or three people, that's really incredible when you think about it, because one of my 5-minute videos needs to be watched 30 times for the same amount of, so, it's all good. And most importantly, I'm learning lots of stuff. So everything else is gravy, as they say in the business. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
That tends to be my policy for watch counts as well. I don't check them often.
Yeah.
It's usually not what I'm optimizing for.
Yeah, like you are gonna do the things that you're doing on the stream anyway. So if half a person watches, that's something extra.
Yeah, and if myself from the past found my channel, I would love it. So that's important for me. That's the kind of material that I wished existed on the internet, and now it does. So great.
Yeah. So Bo, I'm hoping that this fixed the audio issue. Otherwise, and also Glass Audio. So let us know. And otherwise, Leandro, I was gonna give you a problem that is very easy to fix since you're feeling under the weather.
But hang on. Before we move to that, do you want to play around with that X flags kind of thing?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Working?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't set that variable, but you read that variable, then we can play around with that. So I guess one simple way to do it may be to just open the code for the effect and remove that line. And when you save this, it updated. Great, it's updated. So now it's 0, meaning the flag is not set. And that's correct because we are not with the effect on the TCP. So maybe just put the effect on the TCP or the MCP, doesn't matter.
Cool.
And then we'll see the flag.
And
maybe changing, maybe not.
It hasn't changed yet, but let's see if doing that actually embedded it. Get out of my face. Yes. Oh, and let me close the UI window. And
yeah,
there it is.
It's not in the TCP right now. Great.
Yeah.
And the flag
is on now. Cool. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So that's how this works.
Cool.
I don't see the flag yet. Probably Skype is not updating your screen often enough for me. Now I see the flag. Great.
Okay.
So now we can detect if we are in the TCP. Great.
That looks good too. I like that.
Yeah, but just this workaround of just checking the size is probably good enough anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. And hey, we now have a ball drop on the TCP, and I guess in this case it doesn't really make sense because we can't modify anything from the UI. We can just see it change, but the only way to change it is to have it visible. So I mean, in our case it was just an experiment, but the experiment paid off.
Yeah, if you had anything that you control via clicking and dragging on the actual interface instead of sliders, then you could interact with that on the TCP. And it seems like the audio is not any better. So I guess the only link left in the chain is black hole itself.
No, I don't think even that's it. I think what it is this transfer. I think this transfer will be done in 8 minutes and then it will sound really good. But I think what it is like my computer being stretched to its maximum amount. I mean, I have one hacky way of making you sound okay because I'm hearing you okay. So if people hear what I hear, then that will be gravy. But how
do you do that?
How do I do that? The way to do that is to make a project.
Put me on your speakers, not on your headphones. Put me on your speakers, and then your microphone will pick me up.
Well, yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking of doing this, right? So that people now will hear you through this. But I think the way to do it is to make a ReaFIR project, right? And actually make a ReaFIR project, and I have to make a new aggregate device as well. Oh, fuck. All right. It'll probably take me 7 minutes to do that. And in 7 minutes, I have a theory that this will work fine, but I'm going to do that. Hopefully somebody out there is finding this educational and not totally well. For example, I was wrong when I went there. I got to go to my audio MIDI setup, people. And this is not the place. This is the place. Oh, now everything went away. Where did you go? Oh, sorry. I got to hit Command and 1 and hit Command and 2 for MIDI Studio to go away. Now, what I need is my Zoom and Black Hole to also have Black Hole 5 on it. Let's do that. I don't know if ReaFIR will pick that up right away or if it would need to be reset. So let's try it. I'm just going to close this and I'm going to make a new track. And I'm going to go input, mono, or I guess I'll go stereo, whatever. And no, it didn't pick up on it. Let me also try to do this. At any point, people may lose me as well. And then what are you going to do? Yeah, there we go. All right. So we got Black Hole. So now Black Hole 5 comes in. And it will I'm going to mute it. I don't think this will cause an issue, but I'm going to mute it just in case. And I'm going to So, Leandro, say something.
Bo's saying that it sounds like there's a second microphone feeding audio into the stream, like an Elvis slapback echo.
Elvis slapback echo, baby. That shouldn't be the case because this black hole is me. These two are muted. I'll mute this even though that wasn't it. That's my other voiceover. When I'm like doing mixes, I can't have my voiceover come out the same bus because I have to use two reapers. So, but mute that as well. And now Leandro, speak.
Hello world.
Yeah. And Leandro comes out of that. I guess a little bit of the Leandro comes via bleed to me, but that shouldn't be the issue. That will be a minor like low amount of audio. But I want to hear that. So Leandro, can you speak a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So what we had prepared, not really prepared, but on Leandro mics only, Aria is fine, Bo says. Yeah, but what we thought about doing today was to first read that comment and play around with the JSFX flags. And then we are going to try to fix something that is wrong in Aria's repack. We don't know exactly what. I don't know exactly what, but we'll try to fix it. And then finally, we may or may not get into some equations to rotate something on a Cartesian plane. And that is going to be useful when we start drawing the waveform on the drawing of that ball trajectory. We are working on this delay effect that is a ball dropping, and we draw the trajectory of the ball over time, and we are planning on drawing the waveform of the audio on that trajectory. And to do that, we need to take the shape of the waveform and we need to put it along a path. So we need to rotate some things. And I thought that maybe we could just write the equation to do a rotation on a plane, which is kind of a fun equation to write. And it's super simple too, so I think we may get to that. So there you go. I spoke for like a minute. How does that sound?
Fortunately, I didn't hear any of that because my computer is like full on frozen now. Come on. Not my whole computer, but my Chrome only. Oh, okay. Now I'm hearing it. All right. So, yeah, what I'm hearing is a little bit of a slapback, which I can't explain because there shouldn't be one. There just shouldn't be one. Whoa, it's fixed
now.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, the reason the reason it's fixed, it may have already been unfixed. It was that, okay, but I know how to fix it now. Now that I know how it was momentarily fixed, this is the fix. Leandro, say something.
Hello.
Yeah, I think that just fixed it. So let us know in the chat if that just fixed it.
But what was it? What happened?
It was just good old bleed. I just turned down my headphone and now it seems to be working okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It happens on my streams when you're the guest as well. It happens.
Yeah. What I have to do, not what I have to do, is something I can do very easily. I just got to get like a really kind of crappy pair of headphones. So when I'm streaming with you, instead of listening on these loud ones, it's just an earphone that doesn't have, the sound doesn't go like out in all directions. That would be the fix.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I wear these when I'm streaming and I am not producing audio. I mean, when we are recording stuff on Wednesdays, I have to wear the bigger cans, but I wear these guys. They are comfortable and they don't bleed.
Yeah, I guess the NDI was the issue because I was seeing the audio dropouts, but now that we switched to this style, now we won't have dropouts, and we still had the slapback. We fixed it. Delay is gone. Awesome. All right, let's get to it.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's only 40 minutes. Oh, and my level is a bit low. Oh, man. Oh, I give up.
Come on. Leandro's level, I mean, on my end, I'm seeing Leandro at like minus 5 dB. It's very loud. And,
Yeah, I am sending audio to you on that level, but
yeah.
yeah.
It's coming to OBS at that level too. So I guess in that case, what I'll do is turn myself down like 3 dB and y'all can turn up your speakers.
That works.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully that's okay now. Well, goddamn.
Streaming is hard.
Yeah. Always a new problem. And you think like after a while it gets fixed, but it's like, no, new, more creative problems happen. And yeah, that's just how it is, man.
Yeah, let's talk about ReaFIR.
All
What
right.
is going on with your ReaFIR?
Okay, so let me go to my... Oh, and now I'm about to open Visual Studio Code. Holy fuck.
Oh, I'm out of here.
Yeah, straight out, right? Let's check it out. Maybe I don't have to open it. What if I just go to my repository?
Yeah, you can go on the browser.
Yeah, all right, let's do that.
We can even try something new. It's super cool. Go to your repository on GitHub.
Okay, on GitHub desktop?
No, on the browser.
Oh, okay, yeah. 5 or 6 dB would be better than 3 dB. All right, I had already turned down 3 dB. Here's another 3 on the house. There you go. And actually, instead of doing it the dumb way, I'm going to do it this way. Because if I turn down if I turn this down, that means that the bleed will be reduced too. So I did that, and now I'll turn myself up this way. So let us know if this is better. But if it's like a dB or 2 off, I don't need to know.
Look at you, all fab filter stuff. Fancy.
Fancy. I probably shouldn't actually be doing that because it's probably not. It's doing okay on CPU for the current moment.
Yeah, FabFilter is amazing. They are using SMID. It's Cmd. It's great.
Yeah, one thing about FabFilter that is that could be better is that, and that's like not a comment on FabFilter. It's a comment on my computer. When I stream my mixes, when I have the UI of FabFilter stuff showing, it really slows everything down, and that's just because my graphics card is probably nothing to write home about. Yeah. But otherwise, great stuff. I really enjoy their stuff, but I do have my criticisms too. Like, I think I tried to make FabFilter Pro Q3 be my go-to EQ, but my old go-to is still gonna be my go-to from now on, because there's a couple of things about FabFilter's EQ that I'm like, there's like 35 hotkeys. There's not a hotkey for soloing an EQ band, and you can't make your own hotkeys, so I'm out. Yeah.
Sounds decent now, dudes. Amazing.
Cool. All right. Decent is what I aim for in my life.
Yeah. So here's the cool new feature on GitHub. I'm not sure if this is gonna work because you're not signed in, but try just typing a dot.
A dot anywhere?
Yeah, a dot. Just hit a dot.
Okay,
on
I
the
did.
Keyboard. Oh, it doesn't work if you're not signed in.
Okay, let me sign in.
Yeah, sign in. I know that this feature exists, and I haven't really used it myself, so I don't know how it's gonna go.
Whoa.
So check this out. The URL changed from github.com to github.dev, and it's now setting up a Visual Studio Code in the browser. Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible. Cool. This is new?
Yeah, so Visual Studio Code is developed using this thing called Electron. Have you heard of Electron?
Just from your streams, when you do it with, you have another guest sometimes on your stream, and you were talking about Electrum with them. You know who I'm talking
So
about?
Electron is this technology that allows you to build desktop applications using web technologies, so HTML,
Wow.
CSS, and JavaScript. And Visual Studio Code is using Electron, so it's developed in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And now it's 10 years later after they started the development of this thing, and it is a reality. You can use Visual Studio Code in the browser, and that's amazing because if you're teaching someone how to code, you don't have to teach them how to install Visual Studio Code and then install a bunch of things on their machine and blah, blah, blah. You can just go to github.com/something something, like a starter kind of repository with some sample code. And then, bam, you are in the editor and you can start writing code.
So here's a side question on that, Leandro. Because I'm like next week I'm going to Vancouver. And I was thinking like something when I'm home I never do because I get mixing or I get making tutorials. But in the 10 days that I'm in Vancouver, I can do on my downtime is some website maintenance stuff. And then I thought, oh, well, I have to install Visual Studio Code, install all your libraries that are used on my website to be able to modify my website from like my wife's laptop. But now, could I do that here?
Maybe. So
okay.
One thing that you can definitely do is go in and edit posts or add posts. But we do have to run all the tools that you mentioned to update the HTML. So you are going to edit the source, but the HTML is not going to be updated. And if you're just drafting something, that may be good enough. But if you actually want to publish, then you would have to install all the tools locally. Alternatively, we could run that whole chain that you just described on GitHub itself, but I don't think you can do that via this github.dev thing. It's a separate feature called GitHub Actions, and we have not set that up. We could, but we haven't. So right now, the answer is I think it's better off if you just install everything on her computer. It's only going to be Visual Studio Code and Node.js, and then you can run npm install, and that's that. So it's probably a better option.
But I can't install your stuff on this browser.
I don't think you can install stuff in the browser like that. No, it needs to run on it needs to run on the machine and not in the browser, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, for now, let's do this. Get this mess in order. So I think one of the issues that was caused was that, and the other issue will be in my index.xml. I think I screwed some stuff up. It's been a while. So already we can see this is a very small amount. So that means that I'm not in the right branch. Stuff got moved around because I changed my branch from main to master, thinking that's how everybody else is doing it. But everybody else is actually switching from master to main. So I should have just stuck with main. So I guess what I'm looking to do is to merge, because now I have two branches. So I'm looking to merge these two branches into one main and be on my merry way. I don't know how to actually see the branches here.
Well, first of all, we need to make sure that you have pushed everything, because you're working on these things on your machine. And if you haven't pushed, then we won't see that here. Right now, what we see on the browser is what you have pushed already. We are editing code in the browser, but we are editing the source that is available on GitHub. I know it can be kind of confusing, but there are several copies of this code base. There is a copy on your machine. There is a copy on GitHub. Right now, we are editing the copy on GitHub. If you have not pushed from your machine to GitHub, then things will be out of sync. So now with GitHub Desktop, we can check if all the branches have been pushed.
This is a terrible place for my stuff if I did put it again, but I know exactly where it is. So let me just pull that up. Actually, do I know exactly where it is? No, because I didn't change that. Sorry, let me read that again. It's on in the utilities. Yeah, that should actually be. No, I changed. I'm dumb. Okay, I changed that. Yeah, I changed the name to main, which is a total stupid thing to do. Yes, this is what it is. And then I gotta go to freaking. Yeah, don't change the name of things just to look good, people. This is my.
This is actually a conversation that we can have. Do you remember? I think I told this story already. Do you remember why people are changing the name of their branches from master to main?
It's because like the connotation of master. Yeah, master. Which in this case, cause like, when it comes to like grouping tracks and or grouping computers and calling one the slave system, the other the master system, I understand the connotation there, but master on its own doesn't necessarily have any implications that somebody is the slave. Like you could be a grandmaster of chess. It doesn't mean that there's a grand slave of chess. Just means you're really good at chess. So yeah.
And the same with branches, actually. So this is actually an interesting conversation because I think that the principle behind finding better words to describe things, I think that is amazing. Mm-hmm. But in this case, we didn't talk about branches in terms of master and slave. We talked about branches in terms of master and feature branches.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's the same with like mastering a song.
Mm-hmm.
And many other contexts, actually. So
yeah,
I do agree that using words like main and replica is better than master and slave. But in this case, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And supposedly, people who would have a say on this would be people who, like, I guess in this case, black people. And they were like, we don't care. There are so many other problems with tech. And this is what you're looking at? This is what you're trying to solve? Really?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the Redskins team in America, and native people are like, "Hey, give us our fucking land back. We don't give a shit what you call your football teams." Like this is not. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to say that personally, I am not like super happy about this change. I am happy about other changes. Like technical papers being written in pronouns that are not gender specific. I find that good. There are many other changes to language that have been happening, and I find them great. But this one in particular, I was like, it seems like you are trying to cover the real issues with a non-issue and then solving the non-issue.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah.
And now people are migrating their branches from master to main. And many things break along the way because names have been hard-coded everywhere. So one of the places is when you have added the name of the repository in ReaFIR, master was in that name. And now everyone who installed your repository will need to change it to main. It will break on everyone's machine.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, this IDDQD sound guy doesn't know what he's doing, which is true, but, they didn't need to know that. So I guess I'll untick this DS store and I'll untick this git ignore as well, right? But this I will push. This is a new action.
Yeah. Sounds good. And you are pushing to master.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay?
Yeah. Just push whatever you have.
Okay. Commit that to master. Push that baby. All right. And now should I close GitHub Desktop?
Don't close yet. There is it says current branch master. Click on that, and it's probably going to list other branches. So everything in master has been pushed. Now let's check main to see if there is something that we have to push in there. Oh yeah, it's maybe going to complain because you have changes that you haven't committed. Namely the DS store and the git ignore files. Yeah, so I guess what you want is bring my changes to main, and that is just going to keep the changes there, and you allow you to switch branches.
Okay, now we're in main.
Yeah, and then the button right next to the current branch that says fetch origin, it probably would have changed to push if we had a commit to push. We don't have any commits to push. So it seems like we are in a good state. Now, we probably want to see a graph of what's going on because it gets complicated. So what you can do is go to github.com, not .dev, /iddqdsound/ReaFIR. And in there, you are going to find, I think that this changed places recently.
Is it this 2 branches thing?
No, it's called Insights.
Oh, Insights. I've seen that somewhere.
Yeah, it is right next to Settings there. And then you are looking for Network. And I do realize that these names are not intuitive, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So this is a graph of the branches as GitHub sees them. And time is going from left to right. The little tags represent the different branches. When you see something, well, branching off of the main line and then getting back in, that's a merge. And right now we have 2 timelines, and they diverged. There are commits on the main timeline. There are commits on the master timeline. They are different. So I guess what you want is to bring master into main and kill master, right?
Yes.
Right. So we can do that using GitHub, probably, but it's much easier to just use GitHub Desktop. So essentially to do that on your machine. That's what I'm saying. It's probably easier to do that on your machine. Now, I don't use GitHub Desktop myself. I don't really know how to do this, but I suppose it's going to be on the menu under branch.
Yeah.
And it is going to be called merge.
Okay. So now we're in main. So should I go to master and say merge into... No, right here.
So you are in main, and you are making changes to main. You are going to bring master into main. So the changes are applying to main. Yeah,
gotcha.
So when it says merge into current branch, Relipsis, it's saying merge the branch that you are about to choose when you select this option into main.
Which
and
is
you select master.
Master. There will be one conflicted file. I think that will be the index.xml.
Yeah, so conflicts in terms of Git is just that these branches, these timelines have diverged, and you have touched the same parts of the same files in both timelines. Because if you change different parts of different files or even different parts of the same file, Git's smart enough to merge the changes for you. And it does that automatically. It's just going to look at the changes in terms of text, and if it finds a way to reconcile that, that's great. But if you change the same lines on the same files, you have to, as a human, make a decision of which changes to keep and which changes to discard. And that's what a conflict is. And we are about to solve a merge conflict right now. So create a merge commit, and let's see how GitHub is going to present that to you. Okay, so it seems like the conflict is not in index.xml, it's in the README.
Okay.
And it is offering to solve the issue in Visual Studio Code. So maybe open Visual Studio Code on your machine now. That's probably going to be the easiest route, right?
Cool.
It's saying there, open in Visual Studio Code. Click on that button.
Yeah. Something may happen to the stream, y'all. You'll let us know. But maybe nothing. Maybe there'll just be a little poppy poopy thing. Yes. So yeah, I think what it is that I saw I didn't have a README, and then I added a README. So this should be an easy fix.
Yeah. So now we can see, even before this divergence in the 2 timelines, there was already a file called README. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a merge conflict. And in this file, there was already a pound ReaFIR kind of thing going on. The first line was already there in both cases. But then there are these conflicting changes. The head, this section in green, is what is in main. That's what you currently have on your branch. And what is coming in, the incoming change is in blue. It's coming from master. And you can see that the lines are literally different.
Yeah.
And in fact, they're both wrong, because in both cases, they're pointing to an index.xml file in the master branch, and that's incorrect. The URL there should be main. But before you make any change, you have to decide which change to keep. You can keep the green, keep the blue, keep both. Those are your options.
I think I'll just keep the green, right? It's simple.
Yeah, so there is a faint button saying accept current change. You can click on that one.
Cool. Boom.
And then you can save the file.
And go to GitHub and push it.
You can, you don't have to, but you can take this opportunity to fix the URL, to change from master to main.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah.
And then save again and close and go back to GitHub Desktop, and we'll see what happened there.
Cool. And this is GitHub Desktop. No conflicts remaining, so continue merge. And now I just push.
So, yeah, now you're pushing to main. And that's all fun and games. It's going to show up on github.com when this is done.
And then we need to delete the master, right?
Yes, that's what we are about to do next. But before we do that, I want you to go back to the browser and go back to the Insights page on the network page and refresh this, because it should show the merge. It's showing it for me, so it's going to show it for you in a moment.
There you go. Oh, beautiful. That's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah. So now there is this master label, the master branch. A branch in Git is just a label to a commit, okay? There is this this drawing of all the commits. The little dots in this drawing is, each dot is a commit. And there is this label called master, and it's not doing any harm. It's just living there. But so here's something that we can talk about. When I made this transition, I just renamed the branch, and then everyone who had my repository installed saw an error when they updated ReaFIR, which is not maybe the best experience. So something that you can do is create a commit in master and let master live for a while. And in that commit, what we can do is change the index.xml file to have some comments, some way of notifying the person to, like, this repository is about to go away. Here's the new link. And you can do that if you want. Or if you think that there are not enough people who installed your repository, or if you just don't care, like I didn't care, you can just kill master.
There's a way to find out how many downloads. Oh, no, because there's no way to find out how many people copied your browser link to ReaFIR, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's a way. I don't know of a way.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would say under 5 people have it. So I kind of am in the club, don't care. And let's delete the master.
So let's keep it simple. So your only issue is that there is this pointer called master, or this branch called master, and you wish to just remove it. And that's easy to do. Go back to GitHub Desktop, and we'll find a way to do it on GitHub Desktop. Otherwise, we'll go to the command line. So yeah, you can try clicking on that and right-clicking somewhere, or maybe on the branch menu option.
Yeah, just delete.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. Goodbye, master.
Yeah, and it's asking if you want to delete on remote, or in other words, delete on github.com. And that's exactly what we want. So great.
Boom. All right.
And then on the little network page on github.com, if you refresh there, you see that that little branch called master is now gone. The whole history is still there. It's just the little label is gone.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's it.
Awesome. Woo. I probably could have, parts of this I could have figured out, but I think I'm still at like the very timid stage of coding where I'm like, if I touch anything, it'll be destroyed forever and I'll never get it back.
The cool thing about Git is that unless you do something that probably the tool that you're trying to do this with is going to warn you. So GitHub Desktop is probably going to warn you. Visual Studio Code is definitely going to warn you with big capital bold letters. Unless you do something that is going to be, you're going to be warned about, using Git, you can always fix things. because Git keeps a whole history of your projects, like a save point of your project. So you may create more save points than you wish, or they may be the wrong names or whatever. But you can always go back in time and travel in time and go to different timelines, and you can always fix things. So you don't have to worry too much when you're using Git.
I guess, yeah, unless you like delete a branch you didn't mean to, yeah, you can always.
Yeah, and if you try to delete a branch, so right now we just deleted a branch, right? And Git did something smart for us. It checked that the branch has been merged. And only because it has been merged, it didn't complain. If we tried to delete a branch that was just the only reference to that timeline, if you deleted that branch, you would lose access to that timeline. Git is going to warn you. And you can always do it. But even if you do it, then that's cool, actually. If you delete a branch and you lose access to a timeline, there are ways for you to still recover that. Because the timeline still exists on your machine. There's just no reference to it, but you can try to recover a reference.
I see.
So unless you do something really, really, really out there, which would be to delete the branch and then run a garbage collection routine that is going to trigger Git to actually delete the material in there, not just the references, but the actual commits. I mean, it is really complicated to lose data using Git. You really have to make an effort to lose data.
Yeah, it would be harder to, like, you need some skills to lose stuff, I guess.
Yes, you would have to be trying.
Cool. So I guess the next issue is on the index.xml. I ran into some issues which are starting to come back to me. So one was that, like we have these repack names, and then under the same repack name, a few files or a few actions can exist. But I even copied stuff, like just copy pasted stuff from your repository into here, and I couldn't get it to work. And the other thing was that I had this, like these categories. I have like effects category, I have these tracks category, and like under tracks, I have a handful of actions. Some of these may be actually extra from the merge that we did. Oh no, actually, yeah, freeze tracks to mono, stereo, multi-channel, yeah. All of those are good. But then on the video category, I remembered when I tried to add this action, I couldn't do it. And then I added a new category and chose video again, and that worked. So a few things like that are seem to be kind of like problematic for me, and I just don't know how to fix them. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. So I was wondering if you know what's going on.
Yeah, so the duplicated categories, I don't know anything about.
Okay.
You probably shouldn't have that. You probably should have all the repack packages under the same category. Or, in other words, move lines from 55 to 59 up into like line 52, right? Just move that up. You should only have one category for each name. Now, I don't know what repack does in that case, actually. If it's going to look at the first one, the last one, both, neither, I don't know.
Then I'll just get rid of this.
Yeah, that looks okay. So now, everything that you have on the screen seems acceptable. It seems okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe like try installing in ReaFIR?
Sure. I guess we'll also see the user experience at this point. So I saved this here, right?
Yeah. So that's what I don't know. We are using this github.dev for the first time, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I suppose that when you save, you see a little green, blue dot on the left of the window.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Command and S won't work because we're in Chrome, and Command and S does a save page as. So I'm wondering if I need, right?
No, I think that if you have this tab open, it's probably going to overwrite the default behavior for this keyboard shortcut.
Okay. So let me hit Command and S.
Yeah, I think you already did, actually, because look on the left bar. there is an icon that kind of looks like it's branching. That's an icon for Git, and it has a blue number 1 in there.
Wait, where?
Dot with the number 1 in there.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
Look to the left.
To the left, yeah. Oh, there you go.
More
yeah.
to the left.
Okay.
There. Yeah, so this, click on that button and you're going to see the changes the same way that we saw in GitHub Desktop, but now you're not running this on your machine. So
cool.
Yeah, you can see that your changes will be committed directly to the main branch on GitHub right there. So you can just create a commit, and it's the same principle. You can just create a commit there, and it is going to commit directly to github.com. Remember, you're not working on your machine right now.
I create a commit like this, right?
Yeah, so to create a commit, you have to go to the message box right above the changes, and then you can write whatever message you want.
Okay.
And then you can command return or command enter, or probably that button, the check mark is probably going to do that too. I don't know.
Well, I did command
I usually control enter or command enter.
Okay.
And that's that. If you go to github.com right now, even on the network tab, we are going to see a new dot.
That's going to be this, or we already, yep, there we go. Cool. Whatever update. Cool.
That worked. Great. First time using it. Great. So now you can probably try installing this on ReaFIR.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this is going to complain now. I guess if I go browse packages, it will complain. Please complain. Or should I go?
I think that you can try to go to extensions, repack, and then update or synchronize
packages. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
And if you have not run that in a while, it's going to download a bunch of things.
Arya Banerjee says this is in another level. Hey, namesake, same name. Hey, Arya, everybody called her. Okay, and it says obsolete packages. There's some language packs. Brazilian. Come on, everybody. There's no language. It's Brazilian. And then, okay, there are some stuff that has changed. Okay, so I guess I will ignore this.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I tend to not like to use obsolete packages, so I select all of them and I uninstall just in case, right? They're probably not going to be supported anymore. So I prefer to get rid of them, but it's up to you. You can do whatever. And then you can always, I think you can do that later, go into your installed packages and you can see which ones are obsolete and uninstall from there.
Yeah, actually, there are some obsolete packages I still use. Like, there's an action for inserting multiple tracks, and now ReaFIR has that feature to insert multiple tracks, but the obsolete one I still enjoy more because it ignores the default effects chain, and when I insert multiple tracks, I kind of want to. So now removed says this is not me.
Error, so go to error.
Okay, yeah. So
and you see that, it's not there. But repack is really smart. So without removing the error, so without removing this old repository, add the new one, and repack is going to see, oh, okay, it's the same repository, just in a different URL. Do you want to change the URL?
Dope. That's cool. How do they do this? So now I copy this, and I go over here and I go import, and I go shibloink saruni. Yeah, there you go. Overwrite, right?
Yeah. And what is cool about this is that it's not going to re-download all your Lua files. And in your case, it's just a bunch of text files. So it doesn't really matter. But in my repository, I have like 200 megabytes worth of things, mostly just executable files. And it doesn't re-download 200 megabytes, which is great when you're streaming.
Hey, check this out. You know what this means, right? Retrospective record is going to be implemented into ReaFIR. So MPL's retrospective record is seeming to be obsolete now. ReaFIR has a tendency when I do a tutorial on things to make it obsolete. Like I did loudness, and then they added all the loudness stuff, and I did retrospective record, and they were like, "Psych, nobody watched that video." I still want all. I'm gonna ignore this for now. I need to decide.
Right. So I think that fixed all the issues you had with repack, right?
I think so. Yeah. Let me have one more look at this. No. I guess just browser. Just trying. It's been so long. Like I remember running into certain issues, and now it's been a while since I did that. But I think I'm good. I guess I have a workflow question for you. And maybe you would have a way of doing this. So like, I have my own actions that I. Like I have my own browser installed just because I want to test my scripts and see if they work and stuff. But I also wrote the scripts, so when I look for an action that I've done, I'm gonna have like a few versions of it. One is the one that I wrote on before I did testing and push, and one is the version like that is finished that I pushed, and then I downloaded a copy of the same thing again. So I guess well, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with this?
It's annoying. What I usually do is I am diligent about removing the one that I'm developing. After it's done, I move it to the repack repository and I remove it from there. I click on it and I click on delete action. So usually I do that. And if I don't do that, then you can see the path, so you can tell which is which.
Yeah.
Something else that sometimes happens while I'm developing things is sometimes I use a clever trick in Lua that is to get a hold of the file itself. It's very introspective. You can, from Lua, ask, what is my file name? And that is kind of cool because you can actually embed some data into the file name. And then if you just rename the script, it is going to do something different. For instance, you can have a script that has a name like copy track 1 to track 3. Silly name, but whatever. And then to implement the script, you can ask for the script name itself, and then you can get a hold of those numbers, and then you copy track 1 to track 3. But if you change the file name to copy track 3 to track 5, the script is just going to do the right thing based on the name. And I often do that on my scripts. It's just literally the same code, but it's copied a bunch of times with different names.
Yeah, a good example of this is also like MPL, in case people don't know. The time signature one, you can change these numbers to whatever, and it will change the script.
Yeah, if you have my scripts installed, I also have a bunch of these, a bunch of scripts that do that. You can look like for multicam stuff. Oh, yeah, there you go. And even some scripts that are even more complicated, they're not just getting numbers from the name. I do have a script, for instance, to remove truncate silence. So if you, it's not the same as dynamic split. It's not just going to remove that item from the timeline. It's actually going to shrink the timeline to get rid of that moment in time, which is useful when you're editing podcasts or videos or whatnot. So I have several flavors. I have truncate silence in selected items, and I have truncate silence in selected items and trim, and I have prepare items for editing. All of these actions are actually the same Lua script. It's just I look at the name and I see, oh, do you want me to trim? Is there a trim in the name? If so, I'm going to run the part that trims. So all these scripts have the same name. So what I do in development is I usually have a name that is like leafac _ trim, because I know that I will be looking for the keyword trim in the name. And that name is not going to conflict with the final names.
Cool.
And another cool trick that I play is in the repository. If you go to github.com/leafac/ReaFIR, you see that I have only one Lua file. I have only a Lua file called I think it's truncate silence. So I have just that one Lua file. And in the index.xml, when I am setting up the ReaPack installation, I copy that same file with several names. And I find that a cute trick. Yeah, you can see that on the scripts folder, you see that there is like only truncate silence.
Truncate silence, yeah.
Yeah, and even the ones for multicam stuff, it's just multicam convert, blah, 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 but there is no camera number in there.
Yeah.
Like there would be in the final thing. And if you go to my index.xml, you're going to see me playing that trick where I have the same file under several names. So when ReaPack is installing, it's just literally copying that file several times for me.
That's cool. A question about that, actually. So I guess with these, it works the same way. Your toggle master play rate stuff. If I want to make this like 133 or whatever, that works.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Because I have those. By the way, I made some icons for those. I don't know if you like them, but what do you think about them?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can share the icons as data in the ReaPack, and then everyone could have those icons.
Well, you can definitely share them, but if I, for example, now that I downloaded your actions, if I come and say add them to a toolbar, it's not going to automatically choose those icons.
I see.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's actually something where I wish ReaPIR would update that, because that would be really cool if your actions had like an icon they could reference, and then it would be that if you add it to a toolbar, and if people want, they can go and modify them. That would be really sick. And actually, ReaPIR does do this to its own actions. If you add ripple editing or something to one of your toolbars, it'll automatically find that thing, but just doesn't let the users do that. That would be a cool thing for ReaPIR to add. So Justin Frankel, if you're for some reason watching this, thank you.
Now we can actually say that without sounding like douches.
Yeah, no, it's been known to happen. So here's my other question for you as well, Leandro, and then I don't know how you're feeling. If you want, I can let you go. So cause here's where I get confused. So this first version of this script is in iddqd/ReaPIR. The second version is from the scripts that I downloaded off of ReaPack. But if I delete this, next time I'm going to push something to my GitHub, will it not complain that, yo, there was this script and now that script is not there anymore? What is this? Avid, get the fuck out.
No, when you delete from the actions menu, you are only deleting... you are only deleting it from this list, but the file still exists in the file system. You haven't touched that. So... yeah, you're just removing it from this list.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll do that. And I guess so I can for example go iddqd and sort by this, and then get rid of all this crap that is extra, and they will only be deleted from here. And then, so what do you do also? I guess maybe you're at less of a risk than I am in terms of screw-ups, because I always like do the action, and then once I'm sure the code works, I add it to my folder that is in the GitHub. But what do you do there? Do you do the same thing, or the same file that you write the code in, that same file goes to ReaPack?
Usually what I do is I have a place, a directory in my file system where I keep my GitHub repositories, or where I keep my local versions of things that I push to GitHub. Mm-hmm. And then in there, I keep my scripts in there. My Lua files are there. And while I'm developing, I go to new action and I add them from there. Mm-hmm. Then I develop the thing. And when it's done, I remove the action from this list, just like what you did, and then I publish to repack and I get it from there. So I think, in essence, what I'm saying is I do the same thing you do.
Okay. Bezier-based waveforms is what y'all are talking about in the chat. So yeah, cool. I think that's all. Gucci. Do I have another? Oh, there was one action that I wanted to write and I failed miserably at it. Oh, actually, I guess I deleted it. I was trying to make a ping user when render has finished thing, like an action, but I couldn't make it happen. Do you think that would be possible to do?
That's actually an interesting concept, and I don't know if it's possible. Here is what would have to happen. Your script has to keep running because you need to check if the rendering is done. So you maybe run the script, you tell ReaFIR to render something, and then you run your script, and your script is going to keep running until the render is done. Or you would just have to leave the script running at all times, and it's just going to check whenever rendering has finished. But the thing is, you have to find a way to keep the script running. And that's relatively easy to do, but I think it involves a concept that we haven't really touched on the streams, which is the concept of deferring a block of code. And that's what you have to do if you want to have a graphical user interface for a plugin, or if you want to just have not a plugin, a script, or if you want to have the script running on the background, which is the case. So first of all, you have to keep the script running, but that's relatively straightforward. Now, you have to have a way of running the script while rendering is happening. And I don't know, rendering is kind of a special case in ReaFIR.
Yeah.
You cannot access all the features in ReaFIR when rendering is happening. For instance, you cannot go and edit tracks. And I don't know what happens to scripts when you're rendering. So you wouldn't have to test that.
Okay. John is saying ping might be better as a JSFX on the monitor effects chain. Oh, I should actually explain. My ping would ideally email you. Like you could be somewhere else, like not even at the same system.
Yeah, so JSFX are not capable of sending emails. But perhaps, and by the way, hey John, great to have you here.
Yes, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, so Lua scripts surprisingly are able to send email, but in a convoluted way. You cannot really just send an email from within ReaFIR, because ReaFIR doesn't expose the APIs to send emails. But you can always call command line programs from ReaFIR scripts. You cannot call command line programs from JSFX. That would be a terrible idea, right? Calling a command line program is super slow, and you don't want to do that when you're processing audio in real time. But in Lua, you can definitely call programs on the command line, and then you're free to do whatever you want. For instance, I used that to convert videos that are multi-track into videos that are single track, and I used that to connect with OBS, all those kinds of stuff. So you would have to check if you can run Lua while rendering is happening, and you would have to find some API to check if rendering is happening. And I don't know if this API exists, because you would need to check, am I rendering, am I rendering, am I done, and I don't know how that would work. But if you can find those APIs, then your action can succeed. Yeah.
So John says, just an alert sign. At least on Mac, you already do get a thing that says render has finished. This would be cool, like on another system. So one thing we should do also, Leandro, at one point, if you're down for it, like I have these scripts that make a smart marker or an action marker, and the action marker is for going to marker number. So we can maybe adapt that so people can edit this number to be like 2, 3, 4 or whatever, and then it have their own action. That could be a fun thing to try later.
Yeah, I'll leave that as homework to you. Go check the source of my scripts and see how I'm doing it, and try to do it yourself. It's not too hard.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. Oh, John says he's already requested that before. Yeah, would make sense.
Oh, and here's another trick. Maybe it could work. From a JSFX in the monitoring FX chain, can you get a hold of the fact that rendering is done? Maybe. I don't think you can explicitly ask, is the rendering done? But something that you probably can is just listen for silence, and if there has been silence for 5 seconds, probably the rendering is done. So if you have that, I think there is this, we haven't really explored this on the stream, but you know how there is this chunk of memory that we can play with?
Yeah.
So there is another chunk of memory that we can play with, and it's special because it's global. So all plugins in ReaFIR will see the same buffer, same chunk of memory. And that's super cool because then plugins can communicate using that chunk of memory, right? That's great. Now, what is even cooler about this chunk of memory is that this same place in memory can also be accessed from video processors.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh? So you can have JSFX that communicate with video processors. And there are some stock video processors that do that to show some Winamp-like visualizations. And I used that on my multi-cam auto mixer. So you can have multiple cameras pointing at different people on a round table sort of situation, like a podcast. And you can switch to the different cameras based on who's speaking, similar to what you see on Zoom, but for post-editing, like when you're editing video in post-production, which is great. And that's using this piece of memory. Now, I think, but I'm not sure, that you may be able to access this same place in memory from Lua. I'm not sure you can do that, but maybe you can. And if you can, then you could have a JSFX in the monitoring chain, listening for silence. And when rendering is done, it sets a flag. Coming back to the thing we talked about before, it sets a flag. It sends that information using this shared global buffer to some Lua script that will be running in the background forever, that will call a command line thing that will send an email.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you're saying there is hope. John says, I think plugins can know if offline rendering has begun. Yeah, they must somehow, right? Because... Yeah. Yeah,
so I in JSFX, I don't think you can. In JSFX, I don't think there is any sort of API to ask if you are rendering offline or if you are online. But if you're writing VSTs or audio units, then there are APIs for you to ask if you are being rendered offline. And then you can do special things in that case. So ultimately, maybe we could have a VST that sends an email, because a VST is written in C++. From C++, you can send emails, you can play audio, you can do whatever. C++, you have complete control over the machine. So you could have a VST that is going to notice that you are in offline mode, so you're rendering, and then it's going to, maybe there is some API to tell if the rendering is over. I don't know. But maybe there is an API like that. And if there isn't, then we can use the trick of listening for silence. And then from C++, we can send the email. That is probably
there you go. Cool. Glass Audio, just because your question is easy to answer and very visual, you can save as a preset whatever you want. So I can call this Glass Audio, and I can change this stuff and change this. And if I go to presets and load Glass Audio, oh, it doesn't bring this up. This is interesting. It actually recalled the trailing pad, but not the leading pad. Let's test this one more time. Because I thought you know that, yeah. I was figuring that you know that, and there may be a bug here. There's a few bugs in the dynamic split that I have found. Yeah, it seems to be kind of abandoned. And I know John agrees with me that the layout of this menu is a bit wrong too. There you go.
Yeah, and even more annoying, the auto trim split silence action does not have presets.
The which one?
So there is an action that is kind of similar to dynamic split. It overlaps in terms of features in some contexts. It's an action called auto trim / split items in parentheses remove silence.
Yeah.
and that one doesn't have the concept of presets. But if you are in a script and you call dynamic split, you cannot. There is no way for you to wait until the person has clicked on the split button.
Yeah.
So in my truncate silence script, I cannot use dynamic split. I have to use auto trim / split items in parentheses remove silence, and that one doesn't have presets.
Sad. Yeah, that would be a cool thing too. Like await user input, then run the rest of the script. But I think you found the bug there, because this should be a simple. Because did it remember the trailing pad or not? Let me not put a weird number like that. I think it remembered the trailing pad and just forgot the leading pad, right? So if I change this now to, why am I using a weird number? Just use a normal number. Just be normal, Arya. And I recall this. It recalls the trailing pad. Oh no, it doesn't.
That's a bug.
Yeah, that's a bug, because the trailing pad we set at 123. So that's a bug. There you go.
Yeah.
You found the bug. And since we're talking about...
maybe, I don't know, maybe the preset is about detection, not about action.
True, but I mean, a preset should save everything, right?
Maybe.
Here's another, like, it's not a bug, but I would love this to work, is that when I am working with 2K, my 2K monitor, I have this to 1.35, and then I just uncheck this box when I switch to 180p for my streams. It would be nice if it remembered 1.35 here, so that I can just tick this box when I switch to 2K. But anyway, I thought to pile on just when we're complaining.
That one we can probably fix, actually.
Really?
If you, instead of using the menu, if you go to the file, I mean, this whole ReaFIR preferences menu is just a fancy way, a graphical way of editing ReaFIR.ini file, right? So you could just edit that file. You could even have some sort of Lua script in Hammerspoon that goes in the file and changes that setting for you.
Oh. So if we do it in Hammerspoon, that will automatically kind of detect, like, I can even do something like you do, like hit a thing, it will run a script that does all my stuff. Oh, that's some 3022 stuff right there. Bo says Google is weird. You Google something one week and it pops up on the first page, then Google the same thing a week later and nothing. That does happen more often these days. And I think Google's integrity is beginning to be compromised. It's like they let people also pay you to show their results. I don't know. I shouldn't talk without evidence, but I feel like the integrity of Google is more and more compromised every day, man. So Leandro, I mean, I can go for another 30 minutes if you want, but it's up to you, because I know you're not feeling your best.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the equation to rotate the thing on the plane.
Okay.
Just because that is so fun and short and sweet, and we are not actually going to use it to draw the waveform, but we can just write the little bit of code that is necessary to rotate the thing on the plane, and then we can talk about how to use that to draw the waveform, and then we can wrap it up. How about that?
Cool. By the way, something, because remember you wrote the code already to draw the waveform, right?
I don't remember what we did.
Yeah, we did do that, and it was working, but it was just slowing everything down. So I was thinking maybe if that is too much processing, we just create a ball and that ball goes along this trail instead of like a waveform that's accurate.
Oh, no. Drawing a waveform is not that expensive. We were doing it. I don't remember doing it, but if we were doing it, we probably were doing it the stupid way, which is what I'm trying to fix on my own streams. We started this last Friday, and it's a bit more complicated than I was expecting, but I will add to the library this notion of just storing a waveform. And what I'm saying, that is silly is we are storing all the samples and then we are drawing all the samples on the screen, which is super silly because there are 48,000 samples in a second and our display doesn't have 48,000 pixels. So that's just wasting resources. We are repainting the same pixel over it and over thousands of times. And that's what's slow. So I'm going to fix that and I'm going to put it in the library. All we have to worry about is the equation to rotate something on the plane, which I think I'm going to add to the library as well, just because it's needed for this plugin. But I thought I would talk about it in this stream. Then I put it in the library later.
Sure, let's do it.
And Bo is asking if I got COVID. I haven't been tested because the tests that you get on the drugstore, we ran out of those. But maybe I do have COVID. We'll see. Yeah, okay, so can you start a new JSFX that is just nothing? We're just going to draw a line, and then we'll make that line rotate. So the idea is that we are going to store the waveform, and typically you just draw the waveform in a line, but to make the waveform follow the path of the ball, what we have to do is take each slice of the waveform and rotate it just a little bit to follow along the line. So if there is a line like this, say that this is a line, you have to take the waveform and rotate it along that line.
Right.
So there are actually two things that we have to do. First, we have to find what is the slope of this line at each point. And then we have to do the rotation. So the waveform is going to follow the line, and that's relatively easy to do. You just get the positions of the points in the line. But then to actually rotate it, that's when the equations of rotation come in.
Cool.
Thanks,
Let's
Bo.
give it a go.
Yeah, so so there are two problems. The first problem is we have to find the slope of a curve, and the second problem is we need to rotate something. I think that we can start with the slope. The slope is relatively easy. So start a GFX block.
Yeah.
And let's draw a line. You can draw a line with, I forget the name of the thing. I think it's GFX underscore line 2 or just line.
I think it's
just line.
Line, yeah.
Yeah.
And then extra.
And then let's say 10 and 10 for the X and Y coordinates for the first point. And
200? I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I think it's easier for me to reason if the line is going up. So let's say that we are starting at like 10, 100.
Okay.
And then going up to like 110.
Oh, okay. So this is just like coordinates of the beginning, coordinates of the end of a line, right?
Yes. So close parenthesis, semicolon, and save, and let's see what that draws.
Blinks. Oh, the line may be black or not have a color. It needs to have a color on the line before, right?
Yeah, maybe the line is black. So to set a color, you can just say GFX underscore set. And
let's
passes
go.
the only argument, the number 1. That is going to be white.
Oh, okay. Cool. There we go. Yeah.
All right, so we have a line. So our first job is we need to find what is the angle of this line.
Sorry,
Right?
I'm just making this a little bigger for our viewers, but I screwed it up. There we go. Okay.
There you go. And the line is too faint, but maybe you missed this as well, Bo. But there is an update in the upcoming version of ReaFIR 643 that is going to allow us to define a thickness for a line. Hooray. But right now it's very thin, so maybe the stream is not even able to see that faint line. But whatever, it's there. There is a line. Right, so what we are looking at right now, with a bit of imagination, suppose that what we are looking at is a very zoomed in version of the trajectory of the ball, right? It's so zoomed in that we are just seeing the line between two consecutive points. Right?
Cool.
The way that we are drawing that trajectory that we saw a moment ago on the stream, the way that we are drawing that curve is we calculated the position of the ball over time in several time points, and then we are drawing a bunch of squares on the line. That's how we made the line thick. So right now we are zooming in into one of those sections and we just see one of the line segments between two consecutive points where the ball has been. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And in particular, we are seeing a moment where the line, where the ball is going up, so it's bouncing and it's going back up. Right. So now we need to find what is the angle of this line. If the ball is going up very fast, the slope is going to be like this, almost vertical, right?
Right.
And if the ball is going more slowly up, so it's approaching the top of the curve, the slope is going to be more like this, right? So we need to know this because we need to know how much we are going to rotate the waveform to follow that line.
Yeah.
How do you enjoy the hand diagrams?
They're good, and they do the job, get the job done.
Yeah, so how do we find the slope of this curve, or I guess this line? Well, there is an equation for this. It's trigonometry, right? It's not too hard too. So what we have is we know the positions of the endpoints.
Yeah.
Think of a triangle between the 2 points that are on the screen already, and just draw a straight line and another straight line like this to close the triangle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We can even draw it if we want, but yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and write the GFX line. You have to write 2 of these to actually draw these lines.
10. So one would be a 10 and 210. No. It needs to be, I guess if I want to draw this will be 10, 200. It will be until 200. 200. Whoops. Oh, because I said FX line. The G didn't make it. Shabloinks. And the other one is GFX underline line. It will be from just 210 to 200. 200. There we go.
Great. So now there is a triangle with an angle that is straight angle, 90 degrees. And then we can start using mathematics and trigonometry to find the angle. And in particular, we are interested in the angle in the lower left. Okay. And there is an equation to find this. Do you remember this equation? Probably you learned it in high school.
Yeah. So it's the sine of. Is it the sine?
It has to do with sines, yes.
Yeah. It's the sine. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. No, it's not gonna come to me.
Yeah. So if you take the right side of the triangle, okay, the line that is vertical, and you divide by, and Fatis' stuff is here. Hey,
hello, Fatis.
If you take that line and you divide by the bottom line, you get the tangent of this angle that we are looking for.
And then
Thanks,
for tangent.
Fatis. Yeah, so you get the tangent if you divide these 2 lines. But we are not interested in the tangent of these things, of this thing. We are interested in the angle in the first place.
Right.
So what we can do is, let's take the vertical line, and the vertical line is...
I'm just giving these colors so you can refer to them with colors.
Great, yeah. So I guess the purple line is the line that we are looking for right now. So that line is the y coordinate 200 subtracted from the y coordinate 10. Am I right?
Yes.
I probably get this the other way around. I probably reverse the coordinates. But that's all right, because if we do that, we are only going to be off by like 180 degrees, and then we can fix it. So that maybe write a variable called purple equals to 200 minus...
Above or below?
You know what? To make the explanation make more sense, and even to use this code later, how about we give these points names? So instead of being 10 and 200, let's give these points like x and y, or maybe even x1, x2,
Sure.
x3, y1, y2, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so x1 we'll call 10, x2 we'll call 200, and then y1 we'll call 200, y2 will call 10, right?
No, it's actually xy, xy. It's not xx, xy, xx, yy.
Sorry,
So
what
just
do you...
reorder the variables. You happen to have
okay.
chosen the same numbers, so it doesn't really matter, but reorder the variables so that
Cool.
it makes sense with what we see below.
Cool. And then just plug them into these lines, right? Or not necessary. Okay, do that.
Yeah.
Shibloinks, shifloinks, and then shibloinks, and then whoopsie daisy. Shibloinks, sorry, somebody's calling me. Oh, my student is calling me, even though it's early. I'm just gonna not pick up. Okay?
Okay. Okay, so now we can talk about these coordinates with names, which helps. So we are interested in the purple line that is y2 minus y1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe write a variable below everything that says like purple equals y2 minus y1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's yellow. Yellow is, can you tell what yellow is?
Is x2 minus x1.
Perfect. So what I was explaining before is that if you divide yellow by purple, you get the tangent of the angle. But we are interested in the angle itself, not in the tangent of the angle. So you can actually ask for, what was the angle that gave me this tangent?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's do you know the name of this operation?
Is arctan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in JSFX, you have access to that via a function called a tan.
Okay. A tan. So it will be a tan of purple divided by yellow, right?
Yes. Now, this is all fun and games, but there are so many edge cases. In fact, there is a whole section in the DSP guidebook that is about the edge cases. For instance, what happens if the line that we are interested in, the white line, is exactly vertical? Think about
then
that.
this will be 0. Like it will be divided by 0, which is fucked up.
Yes, so that is an issue. So ReaFIR happens to come with the solution for all these issues, which is kind of great, actually. It's a tan2. It's just the second version of a tan. So you can ask for arctangent 2, a tan2. So change the line that reads angle equals a tan2, use a tan2. And then instead of passing purple and yellow, instead of dividing purple and yellow, you pass purple and yellow as two arguments to the a tan2 function. And it is going to be smart enough to realize that, oh, if the yellow is 0, I'm not going to try to divide. I'm going to say that the angle is 90 degrees.
Perfect.
Right? It's just going up or down. So that's fun. Now, the angle is in radians, not in degrees, which is maybe counterintuitive, but it is what it is. So can you save this and we can look at the angle on the right pane?
Okay. Yeah, because if it was not in radians, I'd be able to tell you right away. This is harder to do. But wait, hold on, cause radian is 1, 80 is 1, right? No, 90 is 1 in radian.
No, in radians. 90 is pi divided by 2.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right.
I do have a function in my library to convert between radians and degrees, but if you want to just real quick, maybe write a variable called angle in degrees or something, and I can tell you what to write. So angle in degrees is equal to the angle and a whole circle in radians is 2 pi. So multiply by 360 and divide by 2 pi.
And I guess I gotta do this and divide by 2 times pi.
Yeah, you need parentheses in the 2 pi part. You don't really need the other parentheses, but this one you do.
Okay. Wait, am I saying pi right? It seemed to not be.
Yeah, you need to say $pi.
Oh, okay, there we go. Fotis is saying let's make a band called the Shabloingst Whoopsie-daisies. I'll tell you one thing. As soon as YouTube allows me to have merch, I have a friend who draws comic books, and I'm gonna make a nice Shabloingst t-shirt.
Awesome.
And angle in degrees is minus 45, which is correct. It's 45, but yeah. So we need to...
Yeah, so it seems like I got something mixed up, didn't I? And it's kind of weird because in the Cartesian plane in mathematics, usually positive y's go up, but in GFX they go down. So it's easy to get mixed up. But I think you want to say y1 minus y2, and that will get you the right answer. Can you try that?
Sure. Alternatively, we just give times this by -1, I guess. Yeah, but that fixed it.
Yeah, so that is the angle that we want to rotate by. So usually when we draw waveforms, we are going to draw those slices of waveforms going left to right, and we are going to draw them as a little rectangle, right? So it's a rectangle that is vertical. And what we want to do is to rotate this rectangle by 45 degrees in this case, so that it is going to sit on that line, right?
Sorry, 1 second, I had to text. Sorry, so if we draw something... No, say again, I'm sorry.
Okay, so if you are drawing a waveform, you are drawing it slice by slice or sample by sample. So you're drawing these moments in time, and we are zoomed into one portion of this curve, and we want to draw this moment in time from the waveform, right?
Yeah.
And what we want is now to rotate this rectangle. It goes straight up. It's a rectangle just like this. And if you put a series of these rectangles one next to the other, you are going to see the little waveform.
Yeah.
But we are looking at one of these. We are looking at zoomed in version with just one of these guys, just a couple samples, I guess.
Yeah.
So what we want is to take this straight line, this vertical line, and we want to rotate it by 45 degrees, right? Right, so given an angle, we know the angle. Given an angle, how do you rotate something by that angle? That is the Cartesian rotation on a plane, which is the thing that I wanted to talk about, which is why we are getting into this, right? So there is a Wikipedia page for this that I think will be helpful. It's the rotation matrix Wikipedia page.
Cool, let me pull it up. For the first time in my life, and I'm an asshole for not doing it earlier, I donated to Wikipedia. It's not even asking. Yeah, this is the buddy.
Yeah, so it actually is a bit simpler than that. Yeah, so yeah, we are doing the thing in 2 dimensions, and there are these formulas. Thus, the new coordinates x prime and y prime of a point xy after the rotation are blah, blah, blah. So theta, this Greek letter, is the angle. We calculated the angle. Great. We have x and y. In fact, we don't have x and y. So let's go back to the GFX and let's draw a vertical line for a moment, the line that we want to rotate.
Okay.
And let's do something that may be kind of weird right now, but will make complete sense in a moment, which is to draw the line, or let's have x and y coordinates for, not y coordinates, right? We only have, sorry, not x coordinates, just y coordinates, because it's going to be a straight vertical line, right? So let's have, below everything that you have on the screen right now, let's have maybe y I was calling it high and low in my code. Why high and why low?
Okay.
Because it's going to be the high and low of that slice of the waveform.
Yeah.
And let's do this with numbers between -1 and 1.
Cool.
So that's the kind of weird part, because you don't want to draw to -1. That's off screen. But I want it to be in this notion of -1 and 1, because that's what you usually get with samples, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that the high is 0.7 and the low is -0.3.
Okay. The high is 0.7. The low is -3. No, minus 0.3.
-0.3. Yeah. So that would be a slice of a waveform that reached those amplitudes.
2 lines. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what we want is, we first want to rotate this. Right now, these coordinates are around 0.
Yeah.
So we want to, let me think about this. No, we want to scale this, because right now we have a high and a low between -1 and 1, but that is very small. That's a 1 pixel. We wanted to make it bigger on the screen. So we want to scale. Then we want to rotate, and then we want to translate. Those are 3 of the main operations you do on the Cartesian plane. To scale, do you know how to scale something?
Yeah, we did it on the thing, right? We used like 5120, assuming a 4K width resolution, right? And then divided by
we needed to store some memory, and we needed to store, we needed to pessimistically allocate as much memory as we could ever need. But in this case, we don't need to do that, because we're not allocating memory. So we can just look at project Y, or not project Y. We can look at JSFX W to get a hold of the window size. But we don't even need to do that. We can make it much simpler. How do you scale something on the Cartesian plane? You just multiply by a number.
Yeah.
So you just, let's define 2 new variables, maybe Y high scaled and Y low scaled. Yeah, and Bo is pointing out that ReaFIR has arctangent and even arctangent 2 that works out all the edge cases of calculating angles, but it doesn't have the hyperbolic tangent. That is true. Probably because people know that if they need a hyperbolic tangent, they just need to do some exponentials, maybe.
And then we just get a number which is JSFX-W?
Yeah, well, that will scale by the height of the whole plugin, but let's, the whole portion of the plugin that we can see. But let's just scale by a number. Let's say that a scaling factor is like
300?
Let's say 100. So the thing would go at most to 100 pixels up and 100 pixels down. And that is something that maybe we would have like a slider for this to zoom into the waveform or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a good point to actually have a variable for this. I appreciate that.
Just so that if it's too small or whatever, we can fix it. Yeah. And then I gotta just go semicolon.
Yeah, you are a pro now. So that is scaling on the plane. You know what? Let's do it. Let's draw all these intermediate lines. So can you use GFX line and maybe even set a different color if you're feeling like that?
Sure.
And try to draw between Y high and Y low, for instance.
Sure. I will give it a nice color. I love colors. And then I go GFX line, and I need to draw with the X. We don't care, right? Or is it like...
Yeah, put it at like 100 in the X coordinate, just so we can see it on the screen.
I'll put it at 220, so it's like on the side. And then I go Y low, and I'll put it on here. I will need to put the same amount, right? Because I want to draw a straight one, and I go Y high, and I go
it needs to be
Shibboleth.
220 in that place.
Oops, sorry. 220 and Shibboleths. How come it didn't draw?
Yeah, it is a number between 0.7 and minus 0.3. It's very small. It's a single pixel. It's probably there. I can see it.
Oh, I see. I need to go Y low scaled.
Yeah, no. Leave that one. I want to show the whole process. So right now we are showing that y high and y low are in terms of amplitude. That's a small number. It makes a blip on the screen.
Yeah.
But let's draw another line, maybe in a different color if you're feeling like it.
Okay.
That is the y high scale and the y low scaled. And then we are going to see a bigger line.
Cool. So you see a line? I don't see a line really.
Oh, I just see a pixel. Look at, so you know how there is this triangle on the screen?
Yeah.
Look at the upper right of that triangle. You're going to see a single
I
pixel.
saw it. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's right there. So that's the y low and y high, and then the y low scaled and the y high scaled is now the new line. It's actually on top of the old one, so we don't see the old one anymore. But it's scaled. It's bigger. Now we need to rotate this. And that's when we can use the equations that we found on Wikipedia. We can take the y low scaled and rotated and y high scale and rotated. Let's create two variables for that.
So I'll call it, I guess, the y low rotate. Here's my question. So to rotate it, we need to like figure out the x coordinates, basically, right?
Yes. Okay. So right now we are pretending that the x coordinate is at 0. And that we want to, when we plot the thing, we are putting the 220 there just so we can see it on the screen instead of drawing it off screen. But in theory, we are in the x coordinate 0 right now, right? But when we rotate something, it is going to move to the left and right. So it's no longer going to be at 0. So we will also need x low rotate and an x high rotate, right?
Yeah.
So you may want to have lines for those. And if I may ask you something, you can order it like x low rotate,
sure,
y low rotate. So x and y coordinates for the low and x and y coordinates for the high.
Okay. I guess, don't we need to have the x low rotate happen after y because we need the y to calculate the low?
Well, that's a good question. Go to the Wikipedia article.
Okay.
And we can do the rotation of these 2 points, the low and the high. The low and the high are 2 different points, right? And we are drawing a line between 2 different points. You can do the rotation of each point independently. So look at the equations that are x prime is equal to x blah, blah. And x prime is our rotated variable. And x is just the scaled variable. So it's the old variable, the input to the system. So can now, looking at the equations, can you answer your own question?
So do we need, no, for both of them, we just need x and y, which we already have.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the other cool thing to note is that x coordinate that we are starting with is 0, right? We're starting at 0.
Right, yeah. Per sample, right? Per, like, each thing we draw.
Sorry?
Like, it's 0 every time we start to draw, but then it changes, like if we are on a large scale looking at this.
Oh, yeah. So the last thing that we are going to do after rotation is to translate this to the right location on the page. But right now we are thinking about this, we're conceptualizing this in a Cartesian plane that is centered at 0, x is 0. And y is positive going up, so it's a completely different ballgame to the thing that we are drawing in GFX. So we will have to do a bunch of things later to rotate. Sorry, to translate it to the right location. But let's do the rotation first. So can you open the Wikipedia page next to our code?
Sure. I can do a little bit of this, and I can do a little bit of that. And I can do a little bit more of that, or I can do a little bit more of this. Because we don't really need to see the graph, though it keeps making space for the graph. But sure, I'll put this here, and I'll put this here.
Great. So x prime in that equation is our our x low rotate. X prime is x low rotate. X is the input, but x is 0. I just mentioned how we are centering everything at 0 right now, and we are going to do the translation later. That's important actually, because we want the rotation to happen in the axis of 0, 0. So we have our 0, 0 right in the middle, and we are rotating around that axis. If we did the all this order that I'm mentioning, this is important. If you do the rotation first and then the translation, you get the right result. If you translate first and then you do the rotation, then the rotation is still going to be around 0, and then the rotation is not going to be like this. It is going to be like this.
Oh, okay, it's going to move as well. Yeah, I see. It's along a path instead of just rotate in place.
Yeah. So now x is 0, so that doesn't, we are multiplying cosine of theta by 0, so we don't need to write that now. But minus y of sine of theta we need to write. So minus our y is our y low rotation. Sorry, y low scale.
Yeah. And sine of that, or no, that times the sine of angle.
Exactly.
So sin.
It's trigonometry, isn't it a lot of fun?
One of my biggest regrets in life is not remembering trigonometry. Like, I didn't retain it because drugs. It's one of my literally biggest regrets in all my life. And so this one is 0. So the other one will be just the same thing, except it's y low rotate cosine.
Yeah, it's never too late, Arya. Now you're using trigonometry.
But I used to be a trigonometry, well, I wasn't amazing, but I was pretty good for like high school. I was one of the better kids, and people would be like, bro, I'll pay you to do my homework, and I'd be like, nah. Anyway, and then for the x high, we just need to do the same, but this time it's not 0.
No, this time it is not y low scaled.
It's y high.
Scale.
Oh, okay,
and the equations are exactly the same. You can copy and paste if you want.
Cool. Whoopsie daisy. I guess it's not as shibloinks, boops, screep, doopsk, and pop, and then joops, bloinks, zip, zap, beep, boop, boop.
Cool.
Okay.
So now I want you to draw a line between x low rotate, y low rotate, and x high rotate and y high rotate.
Cool. Let's give this a very special color of 1, 0, 0.7. Bo, tell us in the chat what line that will be. Or what color, not GLX, GFX line. And that will be X low rotated and Y.
It's rotate, not rotated.
Whoopsie daisy. I probably should have said not rotate, but too late to apologize. I said it's too late. Did I? No. Yeah. Y high.
Yeah, so there is an issue here that we are still on the 0. So let's bring this to a place in the screen where we can see this. So how about you just add 300 to all the coordinates, and that will just translate the thing down and to the right.
I should have made a variable, but whatever.
Another thing is that we kept working with the notion that y, the positive numbers would go up, but right now we are drawing a line, and we want it to go down. So you have to negate. You have to negate the y coordinates so that up is down and down is up. So instead of saying y low rotate, say minus y low rotate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the same for the other one.
There you go.
And then you see this line that we drew there is exactly perpendicular to the original line. So if there is a path, we are drawing the waveform perpendicular to the path following the path.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's
the
sick.
show.
I see. Cool. This is not, the line is the audio line, like on a waveform. Cool.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Now, of course, this is underwhelming. This is a bunch of lines on the plane, but it shows promise because now we have the equations of everything and it worked and we used formula and trigonometry and it was fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so do you want to call it here?
Yes.
Cool. I will save this. I suppose next week it's a possibility that Justin of ReaFIR fame will join us again. So if that happens, we'll pick this up in 2 weeks. And if that does happen, I guess, I mean, you and Justin are on another level. So if that happens, I'll just kind of be sitting back and enjoying the show, really.
I don't want that to happen, though, because I want to, at least the initial plan is to walk through the code base for ReaFIR and talk about the nice things that Justin did there. And I think it's important that we all understand. So,
actually, one thing that I'm realizing, next week I'll be in Vancouver, but I can still come on the stream, but you have to drive.
No problem.
Yeah. You'll be driving.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll probably just log on from a inferior laptop or possibly my phone, and I guess I should at least catch up with what you wrote with the SVF, because I know you did a code review on your channel, so I should hopefully have time to watch that.
Yeah, it's not even a code review. We implemented SVF, which is a kind of filter. It's called a state variable filter. It's the kind of filter in ReaFIR, and I implemented it from scratch, looking at the papers, the same papers that Justin used to implement ReaFIR. In fact, I learned about SVF from reading the ReaFIR source code, so that's not an accident. But yeah, I wrote the filters in ReaFIR from scratch in the stream. It is similar to the RBJ filters. You all know how the process works. You store some old samples and you multiply by some coefficients and blah, blah. But yeah, it's fun stuff.
I'll put this link in the description for anybody else who wants to watch as well. And you can watch it and enjoy it and subscribe to Leandro Facchinetti and all of that. Thanks, Leandro, for helping with repack and also with all this stuff and trigonometry and with the stream. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Any final words?
Yeah, I do have some final words. I usually stream every day of the week, but since I am not feeling so well, I will not be streaming until I get better. So you all will know because I will post and I will schedule the stream and everything, but I will not be streaming tomorrow and I won't be streaming on Wednesday, probably.
Okay. Cool. I guess if you felt like if you didn't feel like streaming, but you felt like doing stuff, you can kind of do some orchestral action. By the way, I'll give you one quick thing and then we can get out of here. Remember how it's like there's no other way other than singing and transcribing and playing and editing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is one other way. And the other way is and I think this is the best way. Instead of singing the cello lines, you tune the hell out of your guitar and you play the cello lines. Then you have ReaFIR transcribe that. That may actually work pretty well if your guitar is like fully tuned to 440. That could actually work really well. So there was one other way.
That's actually a smart idea. We'll try it out.
Because you probably play guitar better than keys. And of course, you won't be able to do anything polyphonic if you want it to be auto-transcribed. But yeah, that's something we can try maybe. Not next week and not the week after, because that will be my break time. But in the 2022, baby.
Yeah, so I guess this is goodbye for the rest of the year for us, right? Oh no, there is next Monday. Okay.
Next Monday, yeah, next Monday is a special case because of Justin, but otherwise, yes, this week will be my last week of this year, and then I'll return strong in the new year.
Yeah, maybe I will not return this year. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe I will just stream on January. We'll see.
Well, yeah, it's been a crazy year, Leandro. We've been doing this since not the beginning of the year, but that would be a cool stat to find out, like when our first stream together was. Probably it's been nearly 9 months or something like that. If I had to guess, I would say like since March we're doing this.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's been a big learning experience, and thanks to everybody who's been with us, and see you in the new year.
All right. Or Monday.
Or
See you.
Monday.
Bye.
Yeah, rock and roll, everybody. See ya. I'll switch to that. And I was gonna look, but my computer is so slow right now. And